So she went next door, grabbed a coffee. An hour later, she comes back and I said, look, it's all done. And she was like, got a little bit emotional, just thanked us for like ending the battle. Like she just didn't realize it could be that simple.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's great to have you back with us for another very interesting episode of Wellness 360. Thanks again for joining us, or thanks for finding us. We're thrilled to be back, and this episode brings plenty of new surprises and opportunities to learn and grow. Now, in the last 3 seasons, we've expanded our broadcast to 14 new countries, and some of the topics we're covering this season are healing through creativity and art, sustainable and regenerative solutions from Mother Earth, building resilience and personal growth, dental health, and how to deal with some pesky critters that affect our children's health. And we continue to feature more international guests. Both of our guests today are from Australia, but the information they have to share may help some of you no matter where you're watching from. Every episode is packed with different insights because we're here to grow, share, and thrive together. And whether you're here for a few episodes or you decide to stay with us for the long haul, it's all about you taking charge of your well-being. And remember, if you're looking for personalized support, don't hesitate to reach out. Just send us an email to wellness360carmen@gmail.com. And finally, as always, we encourage you to do your own research when it comes to choosing the doctors and the experts you want to work with. Only you can decide who's best for you. So, whether you're watching us on TV or scrolling on your favorite handheld device, get ready. Today, we're having a conversation about head lice. Lice is not usually a topic that most people want to openly talk about, but don't you think that bears the question, why not? Knowledge is a powerful tool in making better health decisions for your family. So let me tell you a little bit about our 2 guests, and then we're going to dive in. By the way, if you're tuning in from Australia, this episode is definitely for you. Lan, Tran, and Nancy Say are visionaries, and together they're redefining family wellness through innovation and care. Inspired by the challenges families face with traditional lice treatments, these ladies introduced a specialized machine that has a 99.2% success rate and can resolve an infestation in 1 session. Passionate about holistic health, both Lan and Nancy champion their TLC initiatives and core values of accountability, excellence, empowerment, and compassion. The work they do, the service they provide goes beyond treatment. They help children and their families find relief, restore confidence, and they help to empower their clients to move forward in a stress-free manner from the chaos of lice infestations. Hello, Lan and Nancy. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here on Wellness 360.
Hi, Carmen.
Thanks, I'm so happy that you're here to talk about this topic. Could you tell us a little bit about your company name, where you're located, and how you all came together to become partners?
Yeah, sure. No worries. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Carmen. So as Carmen mentioned, I'm Lan, Nancy, and we're based in Melbourne, Australia, and where we actually run a pharmacy, and in the pharmacy there's a specialized lice clinic. So we are pharmacists, and our journey started in 2017 when we bought a pharmacy together. So I was actually on maternity leave at the time, and then Nancy was working for a company where she rolled out professional services, and she really wanted to work on a pharmacy and roll out her own services. So for our pharmacy. And for me, it just made sense as the next step, as I was quite ambitious and wanted to keep going with my career path. And so we joined forces, found a pharmacy. And with that pharmacy, we quickly realized that we needed to have a point of differentiation. So Nancy actually found this professional service that treated head lice and brought it to my attention. And quickly we found out that was really resonated with us, and we really realized how much of an impact this service could have on our community. So we embraced it essentially, And like, for me as a mum myself, I know firsthand how valuable this kind of service is. So, Nancy, do you want to share a little bit about how your experience was?
Thank you, Lan, for sharing all this with Carmen. Yes, Carmen, thank you so much for having us here. I myself had head lice as a kid, so I knew exactly how frustrating and uncomfortable it can be. And it's not just about the itch, it's about the endless treatments and feeling like it's never going away. So when I came across this single session method that was fast, safe, and guaranteed, I thought this is a game changer. And, and if me and my mum had that treatment, we would have saved so much headache, and it would have just like, she would have loved this professional done for you service. So I just knew I had to bring this to my community through my pharmacy. And it was so great that Lan came on this journey as well. I showed it to her, and we just thought our community is going to love this. And let me tell you, the response from our customers also has been amazing. Since then, we've treated over 4,000 families, and most of them tell us that, you know what, I wish we knew about you earlier, or they didn't even know that something like this existed where they can go take their kid to a professional clinic, and we've got a special machine that is safe, fast, and guaranteed. So,
no, and that's fantastic. And can you walk us through like that scenario, right? That scenario when the parents or the parent gets that phone call from the student, from the school, and they're, you've got to come get your child, and it's, they're at work possibly, or they don't have a way to get to, or all these different scenarios that parents have to deal with every day. Walk us through how does the reality of a lice infestation usually affect families, all the way around, and why is it so stressful?
Look, dealing with head lice can be an absolute total nightmare for families because the responsibility pretty much falls solely on the parents. Like schools sends out these dreaded head lice outbreak notices,
Right.
And then beyond that, there's no real support for the family. Parents are left to their own to figure out what to do next, and it's really exhausting. And one of the biggest problem is that store-bought products sometimes just don't work because lice has developed resistance to a lot of these products. So even though they're buying these products, they're trying it themselves, and they're doing it week after week, they're not getting the relief that they're seeking. The lice just keeps coming back.
Sure.
So by the time some of these families come to us, they've so drained, completely drained, mentally, physically, financially. So they've spent weeks, sometimes months, trying to sort battling lice, only to have it keep coming back. So that's the real struggle. It's not just about the lice, it's about the frustration of doing treatment over and over again and thinking you're doing everything right, but not being able to get on top of it.
Right. Yeah. I thank you for sharing that point of just the fact that I don't think that a lot of people would have thought about the fact that lice have become resistant to the traditional methods of trying to deal with it, right? And I think that's very key anywhere in the world. So thank you for bringing that up. Lan, you were going to say something else?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add to what Nancy said was that, so the lice can take that serious emotional, mental toll, and kids, they can feel really embarrassed, and their struggle with itching, the difficulty concentrating at school, has a real social impact as well. And then beyond that, the parents spend so many hours dealing with the stress of combing out the hair, treating multiple treatments, washing the bedding, and so stressing about possibility of infestation. And then often by the time people find it, it's been weeks. So then by that time it's spread to the whole household. And so that just multiplies the stress. So that's why, I guess we've found it our mission to focus on breaking the cycle, so that with this one guaranteed treatment, so that families can move on with peace of mind.
Right. Perfect. Thank you. And I'm going to ask you this question as well, Lan.
Yeah.
In your experience, what are some of the misconceptions and the biases towards other families, right? People, it's unfortunate, but so many people are so judgmental, right? Especially in this day and age. What are some of those biases towards families when there has been a lice breakout, say at a school?
Yeah, sure. So I think the real issue around lice is the fact that there's a stigma when there shouldn't be, because lice affect like everyone. Like no one is immune from lice, and they don't discriminate. So like often one of the myths are that they come from poor hygiene, for example, and that couldn't be further from the truth, because lice don't really care if the hair is clean or dirty or clean, or, like as in they don't discriminate. So what we've found is that even from our point of view with treatments, we've treated everyone from celebrities to foster kids to everyday families. So that's what we've found quite, as in there shouldn't be a stigma around it, because it's just so common and normal. And I think that's part of the issue as well, is that because people are embarrassed, they're not always forthcoming. And so because of that, they treat sometimes in silence, or they don't, it's not actively talked about. And so then the spread is really, it is quite detrimental, this spread, where it could be controlled if we had, if it was a different environment in terms of no stigma.
Right. No stigma, more open communication, perhaps, and less judgment, Nancy, can you share with us maybe a family's journey from, having discovered this in their home, their child, and using your methodology like that? What does that look like? Like an example of someone that you have, a family maybe that you've worked with.
Look, let me tell you a story about this mum that came into my clinic. So when she came in, I could see, as soon as she walked through the door, actually, I could see the exhaustion in her body language. Like her shoulders were droopy, and then there was just, as soon as she spoke, I could hear the desperation in her voice. So she tells me like she's been battling this for weeks and weeks. She's tried different products, and she's even tried home remedies like coconut oil and just like combing every week. And she asked me like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what else can I do? And it's like, does your treatment really work? Like my friend told me to come here. And I simply just like let her know that, hey, you're not alone in this. Like so many parents battle with this, but you've found us now. You've come to the right place, and we can sort this out for you together. So I take her into the clinic room and sit her down. She's still holding onto her child's hand, like settling her. The girl, her daughter, she's only about 5. So as she sat down, we went through how the treatment works, and we turned on our heat machine. So she's just sitting there holding her hand, and then we start working the machine on the head. It's a gentle heat that comes through. And for the first time, I could see that, her shoulders relaxed a little bit. She's not frantically combing her own child's head. She's not putting harmful pesticides on the scalp. So I let her know that, hey, you know what, this is we've got this. Why don't you go and relax? And then she's like, okay, she finally felt like it was okay, like everything's under control. So she went next door, grabbed a coffee. An hour later, she comes back, and I said, look, it's all done. And she was like, got a little bit emotional, just thanked us for like ending the battle. Like she just didn't realize it could be that simple.
Sure. And I would imagine that that type of story, that type of experience for your clients, for the families that you work with, it's word of mouth, right? That's
Yeah.
probably the best form of just validation for what you're doing and how you're doing it. What are there any, if you could maybe, Lan, walk us through, are there any side effects? Are there any things to be aware of using your method?
Yeah, sure. So I suppose we always warn people to start with is that we deal with heat. So our revolutionary technology involves heat treatment. It is safe for all types from like pregnancy. We treat 4 and up, but we always warn people because the fact that not everyone, I suppose the tolerance level with heat, we're not sure about. So we always warn them and make sure that they can communicate any discomfort, just in case, we rely on them to communicate. If it's too hot for them, then we can give them breaks. So I suppose that's the main thing in terms of our technology that we really focus on making sure that people understand. Other thing is that we also let people know that when we treat, because it is one session to eradicate, we kill 99.2% of the lice eggs, as you mentioned, but we can't actually remove all eggs in one sitting. However, they won't be viable. So it is very common afterwards to go home and still have like maybe a few stray eggs, but those stray eggs are more cosmetic. And so we do advise you, a comb out for cosmetic reasons, just to remove it, but at least the cycle has been broken.
Sure.
So I suppose for us, it's more not so much side effects, but making sure people understand so that when they leave, they don't think, okay, this treatment hasn't worked, or, it's so that we're fully transparent about how it all is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I would imagine, back in the day when tanning beds were all the rage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have those conversations with the client just to warn them. And even now, I suspect that there's a lot more people who are, who've invested into their wellness by going to and utilizing red light therapy. So those same conversations are being had in those treatment places as well. So it's not anything that is, earth shattering, in other words.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that, I think it's important, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, to ask questions like anything that has to do with our wellness and what we encourage everyone to do through Wellness 360 is to ask questions, right? Yeah. To be your own advocate, but also to be open to new technology. How, 100%. If you don't mind my asking, how recent is this technology that you're bringing to the table?
So I suppose, so when we started this business in 2017, and this technology had been quite new in Australia, but I know that it has been used worldwide for quite a long time before that. Like in America, it's been used. And so even though it was quite new when we got it, it actually had a lot of clinical backing and a lot of worldwide data, I suppose you could say. So I can't actually pinpoint how long, I guess, in terms of the world, but I know when we started it only had been sort of brought to Australia for like maybe not even a few years.
Sure. So roughly somewhere in the 10 years, around there, right?
And we've been doing it for over 7 years ourselves.
Right.
So
got it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right. Okay. And then before we wrap things up, because, I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time and, thank you for sharing your work with us. But what's the best advice, or, everyone uses the word hack these days, but for being preventative? Now, we know you have the solution for when there is a breakout, but is there something that people could do wherever they are? I know that we have a lot more Australian viewers now these days, so thank you very much. But not everyone is able to get to you. So maybe just some advice to help prevent an outbreak or to spot it earlier. Is there something that can be done, if anything?
Yeah. It's a great question, Carmen, and I think it's helpful for all parents out there to be aware of it. So our 3 top tips. First thing is to minimize your own chances of catching it. So how do we do that? Then the kids, if possible, you wear your hair in a ponytail or braid the hair. There's natural preventative sprays that you can use that's quite effective, actually. It just makes it less attractive for the lice to want to make a new home out of your hair. So minimizing your own chances of catching it. The second one is preventing head-to-head contact, because lice don't jump, they don't fly, they only can crawl. So to minimize head lice infestation, you really need to try to minimize head-to-head contact.
Sure.
So if possible, that is like knowing that, when we're taking photos and the kids, the heads are really close together.
Right.
And then we're sharing hats, sharing combs, sharing bedding. Be mindful that is a potential situation where head lice can come into contact with a new head. So
Sure.
the last thing is regular comb outs and regular head checks. So if you know that there's head lice outbreak going on around school, if you know that someone in the friends or family have head lice, and then you're concerned, the easiest way to do is to get a professional lice comb and some conditioner, and then do a comb out at home to see if you can spot the eggs and the lice.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And I do have one other question for you, Lan. I know, obviously, people from all over the world are going to be watching this, but do you offer virtual consultations by any chance?
Yeah, so so first of all, you can find us on www.theliceclinic.com.au, and we are actually actively working on getting like an AI agent and having a lot of virtual connections with our community as well. So definitely, like, we want to be able to be accessible for people who are not in Melbourne, people even nationwide or like worldwide can reach out and then get advice on how to treat.
Right.
Like, not everyone has the ability to access a professional treatment. So we do actively want to support talking people through how to treat properly at home. So that is definitely something that we are passionate about. So making sure that people from all walks of life and all areas have access to proper treatment. So
Right.
definitely people can definitely reach out to us and get advice.
Perfect.
Even
Thank
if
you.
they're not from Melbourne. Yeah.
Right. No, and I think that's so wonderful, because that is, there are a lot of people that they can't travel to, or, they don't have other resources other than getting access through the internet. Right. And so they want to be able to go to people that they can trust. And
Correct.
I think that's what you're building, is that trust level as experts in what you do. And the fact that you're willing to work with the community or communities around the world, I think that's marvelous. Thank you so much. Besides your website, if someone who's listening to us or watching us on their TV screen, is there another way to connect with you? Do you have other ways to connect?
Sure. So we have an Instagram handle as well, like at the Lice Clinic. So yeah, people are welcome to reach out to us in any way that they'd like. And even if you are a global viewer and you want us to point you in the right direction, if you're interested in this professional treatment and you want to know who to access, like, we definitely have contacts around the world as well. So yeah, we're basically out to make an impact on not just our community, but the wider community. So the more people who reach out to us, like, we totally welcome it.
That's fantastic. Thank you for the work that you're doing, ladies. Thank you for being on Wellness 360. I really appreciate you. The fact that you are so heart-centric in the way that you're operating your business. That's one of the reasons why I reached out to you. So thank you for saying yes to being on the show. And to all our viewers, and all our listeners, please reach out if you've got some questions. You now know how to connect with these two amazing, incredible ladies who are here to help you, right? They're helping the community, meaning around the world. So thank you so much again for your time and your energy, your expertise. I'm Coach Carmen. If you want to reach out to Wellness 360, like I said earlier, go ahead and email us at wellness360carmen@gmail.com. We're also on the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that. And yeah, I'm very excited to share this information with our community. And thank you for being a part of this episode specifically, ladies. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Lan. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Thank you for the opportunity. We really appreciate it.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.